Popcorn rice after discussion.
Want to know some more fun facts?
Isn't it awesome to see some of your favorite content creators and favorite people, honestly, that you follow here on this app, be a part of this amazing community called the Nerd Initiative?
Nerd Initiative here with Sebastian Jones with Stranger Comics. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name's Sebastian. I run Stranger Comics. I'm here at New York Comic Con. I started Stranger Comics around 2008, 2009, maybe you've heard of us. But yeah, originally from England, moved here when I was a kid, ran a record label for a lot of years, and started creating this fantasy world of Asunder, which you see behind me, when I was a young boy, probably into my teens. Kind of essentially wanted to, as we hear a lot of, see myself within these comics, within these fantasy worlds. So I created this character, Niobe, this girl right here. And essentially I kind of poured my inhibitions, my vulnerabilities, and my ambition and wrath onto her winged shoulders. And as I grew, she kind of grew with me. So after moving to America, running a record label for a bit, starting Stranger Comics, essentially it was time to kind of bring her story to the forefront, and as she was making my world a better place, I thought maybe she could make our world a better place. Ding!
Well, with not just with the stories, but also with the amazing artwork, just with some of the covers, even where they're homages to the other like original like Marvel comics and everything. You've got even some from like video game covers and stuff like that.
We have some video game covers. We have some of this, like this. Our Tribe Called Quest homage right here. There's me looking crazy. So yeah, we like to homage all kinds of culture, really. So we got
Blossom over here.
We got Blossom over there, exactly. So honoring music cultures, nerd cultures, comic cultures, or honoring the spirit of the culture of the movement.
Okay.
So yeah.
So for those who aren't, they're not familiar with anything beyond, let's say, DC or Marvel,
sure.
What would be the best way to introduce, let's say, a fan that wants to get into your comics?
Yeah.
Where they start? What kind of genre would you say really kind of typifies what you're doing?
Absolutely. So most people usually start with Niobe because it's the most famous one. Niobe became the first nationally distributed comic book with a black female author, artist, and hero in the history of entertainment in 2015, which is kind of crazy to think. So a lot of people start with this, but where we first meet Niobe really is in this book, The Untamed, A Sinner's Prayer. This is a story of a man who's stuck in purgatory. After 10 years, the devil comes along, he says, "I'll give you 7 days to collect the 7 souls that murdered you and your family." The guy says, "Sign me up." It's kind of like a Clint Eastwood spaghetti western about a lone drifter returning to this world I spent 30 years creating. There's our guy on the boat right there. That's me in the boat after Comic-Con, coming out of purgatory. Check this out. There's our hero right there, and there's the hand of the devil holding him, by Peter Bergting. Remember those old Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns? Imagine that mood and vibe, but set in a fantasy world about a lone drifter returning to a one-horse town. As his memory comes back, he realizes he was a bad dude and maybe he deserved to die, but now he's on a path to save his family. On his path of vengeance to save them, he meets a little elven girl, and her name is, Niobe. And she reminds him of how old his murdered daughter would have been. Give this man a second chance to be a good man or a father, but he only has 7 days. The kicker is, what if she's one of the 7 souls he has to collect? And the devil set the whole thing up just to find her. This is a story of would you damn your family to save the world? Because if Niobe can stay alive in the Untamed, she will grow up to become our world's Luke Skywalker, the face of our entire franchise. That's Niobe, she is death. So basically imagine like a Marvel universe of fantasy, essentially, to answer your question. So everything's culturally inclusive. So we have this part takes place in kind of like more of our West Africa. We have comics that take place in our Scandinavia. So yeah, mini Marvel universe of fantasy is basically the way I would describe it.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Now, one of the things we always ask creators, it's kind of our trademark. We always ask, what is your nerd origin story? What got you into doing this? What spawned you on to become like a fan of what you do and then becoming, this creator?
Thank you. Yeah. Lord of the Rings, just being a huge fantasy head. Lord of the Rings, a shitload of rolling dice, playing Dungeons and Dragons. The Incredible Hulk. I'm a very skinny dude, and when I grew up in England, I got picked on a lot. So you kind of I found a lot of common ground with Bruce Banner and the Incredible Hulk, and ended up having a horrible temper when I was young, so I could kind of relate to that kind of that. And then the comic, This Man, This Monster, the Kirby classic. This Man, This Monster is probably my most, the storytelling just blew my mind. So that made me fall in love with comics as well. This Man, This Monster, Wolverine, some of those kind of characters, T'Challa, Storm, the X-Men. I was just an X-Men junkie. So that, Lord of the Rings, and then also spaghetti westerns. Sergio Leone, Akira Kurosawa, early Spike Lee, and being a music head, John Coltrane, a lot of old soul music, a lot of early 90s hip hop, and then getting really into the blues. So essentially the amalgamation of all those kind of cultures infused, and that led me to kind of this, I guess.
Yeah. It's the kind of the story of everything that's a part of you come together in one.
Exactly.
Is there anything that you would give as a recommendation or as advice to someone who's, let's say, a young person who maybe has an idea in their mind that goes against normal conventional comic books,
100%,
anything like that you could give them as just advice of going forward?
100% is so when I started Stranger Comics, I shopped Niobe around because I was just trying to label, and I didn't want to do another company again. And a lot of companies basically thought this would just look good during a Black History Month announcement. It was very vapid and hollow, right? That's why we were the first. So essentially, I wanted to protect the integrity of Niobe and her spirit of culture, the concept of who she was also as a person. So if you're a creator out there, I think the avenues are there for you to essentially reach your market at comic conventions, through Kickstarter or Indiegogo. There are ways for you to connect with your core consumer. And comics are not easy. So I would say don't compromise on your spirit or nourishing your own soul. Don't chase a hashtag. Don't chase a trend. Write the story that essentially speaks to you, whatever that is, whatever it is. Write the story that speaks to who you are as a person, because at the end of the day, when you write that, don't do this because it's a hashtag trending. Don't chase the big Hollywood shit. Do it because you want to create a comic that speaks to you, that you can be proud of in all its, the sum of its whole, basically.
Well, we're glad you did that.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you so
that.
much
That's
for
very
this.
kind. Thank
really
you so much. I appreciate that.
All right.
Find us at Stranger Comics.